everyone, welcome back. It is the Danny Dot podcast. Okay, so I recorded a pod and I forgot to push record. Has never happened before, so take it as like it's a sign. It was my 43rd pod and I did that. Whoopsie daisies. I can't even say if it was good or bad. I just feel like I have to re-record. Well, I am recording and the button's pushed, so it's fine. Anyway, I just wanted to say massive congratulations to everyone that has pushed through the first weekend of Dry July. If you are smashing it doing 30 days sober this month, I commend you. Like, I remember my first sober weekend when I was doing 75 hard. You kind of sit there and you think, well, what? No, it gets better and you can do this. I know about 5 people that bombed out for whatever reason. I have about 10 friends continuing on doing it. I also know a handful of people from Saturday night that are replacing alcohol with narcotics and drugs because they can't have a drink. And I'm like, what? That's like doing the 40-hour famine and eating those barley sugars. It doesn't, no, you're not supposed to do that. So I did laugh and I thought, far out. Is that what we've come to, is it? But no, if you can get past that first weekend, you got this. I 100% support you. Pop into my DMs if you need a helping hand with the mental clarity of it all. But hey, the longer you stay sober, the better it's going to be. And you're just going to come through this brain fog and be like, yes, I'm killing it. I'm doing it sober. Funny thing I found out on Sunday driving over to Queenstown was that Dry July is not actually for men's mental health. It's for cancer. But I don't know, for some reason I just put it in a bucket with like the boys. It's the blokes thing to do. I don't know. I don't know why. I definitely laughed about it. I thought, far out. Are you kidding me? Lately I've just really been gravitating towards helping out with men's mental health and I don't know why. It's something that's always been quite close to my heart with my brother passing away. But yeah, I just sat back and I thought, far out. I felt like it separates the men from the boys from the men, old Dry July. If you can get past that first weekend, you're a man. Anyway, if you're doing it, kudos, mate. We'll follow up with another one and check in and see how you're all getting on. However, I wanted to touch on a really fabulous podcast I came across last week. I don't know if you guys ever watched Married at First Sight Australia with Davina Rankin. She was a married young lady who she started a real controversial situation when she kissed another woman's husband on the TV show. Made for great television, 100%. It was the best. She has changed quite significantly since those days, and she has a pod called Who Me. I'm going to put a link up in my Instagram story. Feel free to download this special pod. She speaks with a couple of lads called Gian and Josh who have invented a charity run called the Hundy. It is 100 days sober from March to July. And these lads started it when they were 25. They are 27 now, respectively, have done it for 3 years and raised $30,000. The only difference is after the 100 days, they do 48 hours of extreme fitness. And I'm talking they'll run 100 kilometers or they'll do 48 hours of CrossFit. So I think back to the end of my 75 hard and all I wanted to do was sit down because I was knackered. But yeah, I just thought, wow. And the podcast really hit the heartstrings for me because obviously when you do things sober, people have a lot of conversation, a lot to say about it. So to hear a couple of young guys just say, oh, you know, it all started when I went to go to a family event on the Sunday and I was so hungover and I thought, stuff it. You know what? I'm going to go sober for 100 days. And the way that they talk and they introduce, you know, just how it is to go to social events and have so much support. And there's still the odd person asking the question of like, oh, are you still going sober? Listen, you don't go up to a pregnant woman and say to them, oh, you know, are you still having a baby or are you having a drink yet? So just be mindful if you do know someone doing Dry July, just support. And you don't need to ask questions. If someone chooses not to have a drink with or without Dry July, it's their decision. And I think that there's this real stigma lately that everyone has to be drinking. But quite frankly, some people are a lot more fun without alcohol. And I just think that the people that are persistently asking the question of like, oh, you're still doing, 100 days sober and whatnot. Like, come on, have a drink, be a man, rah, rah, rah. No, listen, you need to have your liver rinsed out and simmer down, because people are doing great things this year, and I am especially proud of, like, I just know a lot of people that are doing really well in their lives, and I think you don't need some stupid people pleaser natter on your shoulder to make you feel like you need to have a drink. And especially for those people that have put down the bottle this month and picked up something else. I don't know. It's so weird to think that we need to have these. I don't know the word, but I know there's a word that you call it when you think you have to do something else. You just don't. And this pod with the boys, Gian and Josh, really explains it so well. And I just thought, far out, yes. I even sort of made the comment that next year I would do the hundy. I think it's not really a thing at the minute, just because they're going through the motions of trademarking it and everything else. However, once it does get the ball rolling and they do sort of start up a page, because it's not just going to be a word of mouth conversation amongst friends, as it is going to be like the whole of the state of Victoria, which is where they're from. But no, I really do and will support it. I even said I might do it next year, but it falls over my birthday, and I can't really imagine turning 38 without a glass of champagne in my hand, but who cares? You never know. And I think if one thing this whole year has taught me, it's to be open-minded to a lot of things. And the more your mind is open to things, the more the universe gives back to you, which is kind of where I wanted to go with this podcast, just because a lot of weird stuff has been happening in the past 6 months that I think, holy shit, how and why am I attracting this kind of discussion, this love interest, like this vibrancy? Where is it coming from? Because it's never happened before in my life. And I don't know, is it the woo-woo of the magic? I love that word, the woo-woo. So on Saturday night just gone, I was at a friend's house and we were playing this detective board game, which quite frankly was difficult after a couple of drinks. I'm not going to lie, the evidence threw me off. But we decided to get tickets to Calvin Cruikshank, who's coming to Cromwell on the 18th of July. Now look, Calvin Cruikshank is New Zealand's psychic medium. He was born and raised in the Waikato. He was known for being on the TV show Sensing Murder. So, I mean, am I a skeptic? No. But if you pulled me up on stage and had a reading done for me, I would be 100% open to it. The funny thing was, and this is why I'm really like mindful of stuff at the minute, is 2 weeks ago I read my star sign, and I am a Taurus and I'm super stubborn, but we'll get to that shortly. And my star sign said that I should have a reading done because it will explain things. And I laughed, because we live in this place that, of course, there's not going to be someone that can just read your palm or do a reading. Like, it's the smallest township I've ever known. And I just thought, maybe this is going to be it. Maybe this is my reading. Like, what? So I definitely will entertain it if it did happen. But I said to my friend, if I was to go up on stage and this, and this was brought up, it's because of this. And I know you can't forecast what they're going to drudge up, because obviously it's, completely spontaneous. But if this, and this was mentioned, that's because of this, and this. She said the same thing to me, which made me laugh, because she has her own situations as like why, if she was brought up on stage, these things would come to fruition. I just was like, this is amazing. I mean, I have a few weird things that are in my life to do with different people passing that I feel like they've never really left me. And I mean, this is where the woo-woo and the magic starts, because I live in a new build house and there's nothing tainted about it. Yet, ever since we brought these damn tickets to the psychic, the house is genuinely moving. I think it was, what's today? Tuesday. So Sunday night, the bread fell off the condiments containers in the flat. And I just thought, there's no reason for the bread to fall off those. Like, it's sitting on a shelf. The kettle boiled. Last night, the TV turned off 4 times. It would have been 5 times, but I went to bed. And my work from home setup with all my monitors has flicked 4 times today. And I'm literally pulling my hair out because nothing's faulty. it's just weird stuff. And I think, holy moly, is this because we brought the psychic tickets, or like, am I channeling this a bit weirdly? I don't know. But let's just say that I would not sage my house and I would not get rid of bad spirits if that was the case. And I crack up because I know you're all sitting there rolling your eyes like, is she serious? However, I have, different things that go on in my life that I think there's no way that I would have known that. And how did I bring that up? And I'm not saying I'm a medium or a psychic or anything like that, but my mum's mum passed away when I was 2.5 years old. And there's things that I don't know about her, but there's things that I do all the time that I'm like, that's not genetics. There's no reason for me to have reached to buy this candle with this tortoise shell pattern, because I didn't know that my grandmother had this pattern on a skirt that she wore in like the 60s. Like, there's no reason for me to know any of that. But I will. And I don't know. There's just, the other day when it was about 6 months ago, we were redoing my cat's garden where she's buried. And I went down to the gardening store and I brought heaps of fuchsia plants, like the little dancing ballerinas. And Mum said to me, why did you pick those? And I said, I don't know. They just look cute, the little ballerinas. And she says, there's a photo of you in the glory box that when my nana passed away, my mum got. And it's me sitting in a field of fuchsias with all these ballerinas. And she's like, I don't think I've ever shown you this picture, because not like you care or anything. There's just like you in amongst the flowers, which again is this weird connection. But yeah, the other day, I think it was like 2 Saturdays ago, I was at home and it was just me. The fire was lit and the house was all sealed up, and I was chilling on the couch watching a movie. I smelt cigarette smoke and I just sat there and I looked around and I was like, are you kidding? And my brother Jack used to smoke, and I just cracked up because I thought, if he's in the house, this is wild. And also my mum's best mate, Trace, she was the Patsy from Absolutely Fabulous. If you followed that TV show, she was crazy. She would wear like Romy and Michelle high school reunion type stilettos on treadmills. She didn't care. She was 6'3". She was beautiful. She passed away in November 2020. And there's things that she did that Mum knows about from their childhood that I've brought up and I wouldn't have known about it. And I'm sitting here and I crack up and I think, oh my word. So yeah, look, there would be a million reasons for me to go up on stage at Calvin Crookshank, and I am so open to it. I wouldn't even get emotional because I feel like I just want to know that my brother Jack is okay. That's the main contention for me, is that he passed away St. Patrick's Day 2020, and I don't really have closure on that. So my brother needs to kind of come through and just say a few things, and that would be interesting. But yeah, my whole understanding about being a psychic and having those readings done, I am here for it, and I'm really looking forward to it. So if any of you guys are going as well, please reach out, because this is going to be a ride moment. And can you imagine the pod the week after? I'll just be like, blah, blah, blah. This all came true and this happened. And the worst thing that could happen is if I don't go up on stage, nothing bloody comes of it. But anyway, my other favorite psychic that is just a famous person is Nostradamus. And do you guys know that he passed away he was 62 years old? He was actually only alive from the 14th of December 1503 to the 2nd of July 1566. For some reason, I'm not thinking that he was like the Mother Teresa or whatever, but I feel like he was at least alive in the 80s. But no, that's crazy, isn't it? So Nostradamus was a person that would predict the future by positionings of the planets, the sun, and the moon. And there were so many conspiracy theories that came from what this guy had to say. Did he predict that the Twin Towers, September 11, was going to happen? There's some weird stuff out there, and I really don't want to deep dive on that stuff because I go down rabbit holes. You know that. But has Nostradamus's predictions stopped? I don't believe they have. I think I'm even looking at it right now and it says, what's the prediction date for World War III in 2024? And not a lie, it actually says June 18. He says that Tuesday, June 18, 2024, has the strongest planetary stimulus to trigger World War III. I don't know. What happened on June the 18th? Because we're past it. We're at July 9. Maybe something did happen and I don't even know about it. But anyway, Nostradamus has predicted historical events such as the Great Fire of London, the bombings of Hiroshima, and the ascent of Adolf Hitler, which is super interesting, like history kind of things. I have always been someone that likes to go forward in life. I barely ever think or look back. I don't care for the stuff that's happened in the past. I mean, my mum tries to do up the bloody family tree, and I'm like, oh, unless they've been born the same time I've been born, I don't care. It's like I'm not interested. I did modern history in high school, but the guy had like a toe for a thumb, so I didn't pay attention. It was too hard. I don't want to sit there and look at some guy that's trying to hold a book with a toe for a thumb. Anyway, he's someone that I don't know, I feel like has just always been around as someone that predicts the future. And it's not more or less like a psychic thing as it is to do with the planets, the sun and the moon, which then leads me on to zodiac kind of stuff. And this stuff really cracks me up. Obviously, zodiacs are a way to understand our identity. Astrology is seen as a way that seeks one's validation for their self-identity or how they think about themselves. There is some importance to zodiacs and signs of life. Each zodiac sign has its own unique characteristic and trait that shape and influence your personality's strengths, weaknesses, preferences, and compatibility. Knowing your zodiac sign can help you discover and understand yourself better and also help you relate and connect to others better. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. I mean, is anyone listening that's a Sagittarius? Because that's the lucky zodiac. I don't really know why. They have an knack for turning their dreams into reality. Do horoscopes tell the truth? Well, they have predictions of astrology that have never been more accurate than expected by chance alone. Astrologers often avoid making variable predictions. They instead rely on vague statements that let everyone else try and avoid falsification. What countries believe in astrology? Mostly India, Greece, and Egypt, Rome. And there are 3 important zodiac signs taken all together. Sun, moon, and rising signs are often called your big 3. They play a very important role in your birth chart, and each describes a different part of your personality and your life story. Well, I mean, the thing is, I am a Taurus, and in astrology, the sign of the zodiac refers to one of the 12 specific constellations of the zodiac, and the sun passes through that. A person's particular sign of the zodiac is one that the sun was where the sun was when they were born. It's a belief in the astrologer that a person's personality can be predicted using the sign of the zodiac. The rarest zodiac sign is actually Aquarius. I actually think my brother's a zodiac of Aquarius. I am a Taurus, and I'm born May 19, so I actually fall on the whole like Taurus Gemini. Like I could have been a Gemini, and I'm super glad that I'm not. Let's just be honest with that. I think I had like an ex kind of guy that I really was interested in back when I was in my early 20s, and he was a Gemini. He was a nightmare. Oh my word. It's funny because I read these zodiacs once a week by the team at Cleanse & Co. They are on Instagram. It is a place where you purchase crystals and you find out about astrology and zodiacs. Every Sunday night they put out the week ahead, and I post it on my personal social media page for my friends and family. And I always have responses from everyone, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the week ahead. And then no one ever really follows up with me as to like how it all went for them. But it absolutely cracks me up because I get the actual big email that breaks down what everyone's star sign means. And I've always said, do not deep dive on your like families or like partner's zodiac. Like you stay in your lane. You learn about what your star sign is meant to have happen, and don't overthink it. Every month, for some stupid reason, my mum reads mine out, and I sit there and I go, shh, stop it. I don't want to know. I think it's an old wives' tale that it's bad juju if you have someone else read your zodiac. So I have to always stop her, and I'm like, no, don't tell me. And why would you think I didn't know? Anyway, I am a Taurus myself, and I am super stubborn. Anyone that knows me personally will know that if I don't want to do something, I dig my feet in. If you play me and like ruin our friendship, I will not go back to being a friend of yours. Like, it's like a one chance thing. I don't even know if that's actually a Taurus trait. As I just know that being stubborn is quite up there with who I am as a person. It is an earth element, and my brother Jack, before he passed away, he brought me an emerald, which being green, earth, he actually was the one that was into this kind of stuff. I've only just sort of done this in the last 6 months, but it's something where you don't deep dive on it and don't overthink it. So you can read your star sign and take into consideration love, relationships, friendships, family, financial situations, work, career, that kind of stuff. But I mean, why is it that every time I see something to do with a financial star sign, I get excited and I buy a lotto ticket? Like, is anyone else like me, or are you normal? Because honestly, oh my gosh. I love, like, obviously seeing how the week's going to pan out with my star sign, maybe even the month, but the year as a whole kind of falls off a little bit for me because I'm like, it's too much to take in. And I really admire the people that watch the changing of the moons and the Venus and the signs of the, all these type of astrology terms. I just sit there and I'm like, what does it all mean? It's just something where it's self-taught. So lately there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening in my life, and I look around and I'm like, did I plan this? Did I honestly open myself up to this? Because there's just, I don't know, things that are happening that I think, why? It's never happened before. Why is it happening now? And a lot of people have said, oh, it's just because you've had this clarity when you were doing 75 hard that it gives you back all the types of goodness from the universe. And it's kind of like when you think about a red car and then all you see is red cars. Like right now, all I'm thinking about, for some strange reason, and it's just sort of happened the last, I don't know, month or two, is like future and love. And like, where do I see myself in the love aspect? And love for me is so hard to talk about just because it's never been something I've been positive about, in a sense of like, I've been burned, and anyone that sort of shows me any sign of like interest, I just run in the other direction. I'm like, I don't even want to know what's going on. I can't, it's too much. Just because I think when you've been burned before, you just find yourself like, you're not good enough, so why would you ever be good enough for anyone else? Then I did this weird mindset flip where I was like, my whole human design deserves to be loved. And I was learning about it in the Inner Bloom course that I had brought, and I was obviously just admiring like what it would be like to be loved. But then this was about 6 months ago, and I even wrote in my journal, which is weird because I was like, I've never done this before in my life. I wrote down the traits and things that I would look for in a husband. And then I closed the book and I was like, okay, so I've got it off my chest, what I'd be looking for in a husband or a guy. And then I just went about life. Went away to Hawaii, came back, and then I just instantly found myself really open to falling into those types of environments. And the weekend just gone. On Friday night, I got a guy's number. He invited me around for dinner. He wanted to cook me a lamb rack. He asked me to bring a cheesecake, but he still told me that I would be a dessert for him. Saturday, I'm at the nightclub, and this guy who has always been super shy around me, like I'm talking, guys, he would not say a word to me. I have to say everything first. He came up to me and he started talking to me, and I'm standing there like, I'm sorry, what? I honestly wanted to push back and be like, hey, I'm the one that starts the conversations, not you. What are you doing? But I was open to it, and I just thought, okay. He was asking me about the week that I just had, and I thought, when have I last seen you? Like, why are you so interested in my last week? I was at a table with a whole bunch of farmers that I had never met in my life. One of them told some lady that I was his wife. And I heard it from the corner of my ear and I was like, are you joking? You don't tell someone that that's your wife, and I've never really spent any time with you. I don't even know your name. I had some other guy at the end of the table whose best mate leaned over and said to me, oh, da-da-da likes you. He's just a bit shy. And I looked at him and I went, who's da-da-da? I think I said it a little bit too loud because all of a sudden da-da-da left, but that's not the point. I then went to go home and extra people got in the courtesy coach and there was like a whole thing happen and I don't even know, but like I am just really like, I sit back on like Sunday nights and I just think, what? I've never in my life been open to these kinds of situations, and I'm laughing and I'm telling like my nearest and dearest, like you'll never guess, but this happened. It's never happened before. I cannot put it down to my star sign alone. It's just genuinely me and my actual human makeup. But I think, is it because I put out all these things into my journal, which I've never done before? And yes, there is a list about my perfect ideal husband, and it's literally only 5 dot points because I'm not picky. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I'm actually being admired by different men. And the weirdest thing was last Saturday, I told my friend, my bestie, you guys know Dan, I probably get 2 text messages a year. 2 text messages. And I said, no one texts anymore. Everyone, uses social media like Snapchat, Instagram, Messenger messages. So to go out the following Friday and get a guy's number, I screenshotted this message thread and I sent it to Dan and I was like, oh my God, what was I saying to you last week about ever having a text message situation? And he was like, what? What is going on? I says, I know, I have this guy texting me and it's crazy. So I'm not saying that all of this woo-woo magic is intentional. I just don't know where it's come from. And I feel like I'm hitting this weird frequency in my life right now where only good things and positive vibes are being attracted to me. I've said this a few times in my life where I feel this is a really bad mindset to be, but it's happened a couple of times. So I'm just going to put it out there that, if you do feel like this as well, you're not alone. That movie Shallow Hal, where the guy only sees the hot version of that girl. Sometimes I feel like that because I know that I'm not like the most fucking hottest thing in the world. But when a guy gives you that little bit of attention, you think, what is he seeing? What is he looking at? It just really throws me off. But lately I'm just really in this, I don't know, high emotion type environment where I'm just so happy and cheerful and vibrant, and I'm getting these remarks by different people that, don't see me from Monday to Friday, but might see me on the weekend, and just on the off chance they might get a word in and say, wow, and I just crack up and I'm like, I know, but I don't know what's going on. So if anyone has any idea about all this and wants to direct me or further guide me into how this is all kind of transpiring, please, I am here and I really want to know. It's been the most crazy couple of months and I just am so interested in what's next, and I've never been like that. I've always just been like, okay, so we'll just coast along with life. But me, in my brain, I'm making plans, and I feel like I have the next 7 outfits all planned out in my head because I'm so excited to go out and see people and just spread joy and glitter. In saying that, my godmum is turning 60 and Nelson coming up, and I wasn't going to go. I just thought, oh, she's all right. She doesn't need me up there. And mum was like, no, you're coming because, oh my gosh, Danny, you were going to end up on the bar dancing at their local pub at the raffles or the karaoke or whatever. You've got to come up and spread joy and glitter. You've just got to do it. And I just sat there and I'm like, is that what you see me as? But honestly, yeah, I am so happy these days, you guys. And I just I'm just channeling it so differently. I'm open to everything. I'm excited for the future. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen and where I'm going to end up? I can tell you one thing. I might have ended up buying a Jag last week as a Jaguar car, but I had to rein it in because Susan got shitty at me. That's another story for another podcast. But Anyway, I am gonna pop off and go and do a few things. I am a busy girl, but yeah, love yous and leave yous. Leave you on that note. Just yeah, come and talk to me. Tell me what I'm up to. Anyway, take care. I'll talk to you again in a week. Bye for now.